Hey, hey, hey. It's Filter Free Friday, y'all. Listen, I am so glad y'all here. I am almost in shock about what I'm about to share today. I was at dinner with one of my girlfriends. In fact, I feel like I know her really well, mostly because we connected on social media, but in real life, we had never had an opportunity to meet. So this was our second time meeting, and we are at a restaurant, and there's a thin uh, um, patio outside, and it's my decision. I decide I want to sit outside. Now I'm going to tell you what the race of the people are because I think this is important. Me and my dinner date, we are Black. Everyone else in this restaurant, besides the assistant manager, is white. So we're having an important conversation because I had just buried my brother a couple days before, and she is got lots of background in therapy, and especially as it relates to Black people and Black women in particular. And so we are deep in conversation. I believe she had just asked me, why did I have the opinions that I currently have around grief and crying? And we were deep in conversation. So I want you to imagine that you're at a restaurant, you see two people deep in conversation. Nobody's emoting in any way, but we are deep in our conversation. The way the patio is set up is that the chairs outside are in rows. So right behind us is a table with a white woman and her male companion. So I'm focused on what me and my friend are talking about when I hear, "Hey, are y'all smoking weed?" I turn around and I look, and there's the woman is asking me if me and my dinner partner are smoking marijuana. Whatever. Listen, I was just on a plane and the lady was complaining about the way she gets emails. I'm generally not bothered by a whole lot. In fact, it gets me in a lot of trouble because people expect me to be bothered by a whole lot, and I'm not bothered by a whole lot. So I just say, nah, we're not smoking weed. I turn around, look her in her face, and tell her we're not smoking weed. I turn back around, talking to my friend, and I smell weed. So if y'all smoking weed, it's okay. I turn back around. It's number two. No, we're not smoking weed, ma'am. And I turn back around. Now there's a table that is beyond me, like in front of me. She's right behind me, and then there's another table right before you go into the restaurant. Go back into the restaurant. So I say, I start talking to my friend again, but I kind of look at her like, sis, what the heck is this? The third time, the lady says, well, do y'all know where I can get some weed? Do you know those people over there? You think they have some weed? And so at this point, I take my glasses off because now I'm getting irritated. My uncle likes to say, my Uncle Rabbit, he says, I don't make a habit of repeating myself. That's one of his sayings. And I'm channeling my Uncle Rabbit in this moment because I'm trying to still be kind. And I turn around and I say, we don't have weed, we're not smoking weed, and we don't know where you can get some weed. That's three. If you know me for any length of time, you know three's my number. It's like one, okay. Two, oh, stop playing with me. Three, you about to limp eight. But see, I've been working on understanding my emotions. I've been working on expressing my emotions, and I've been working on regulating my emotions because I'm telling you, I'm getting so much better at this. So y'all hang tight because this gets worse. This gets worse. That's why I said I wish I had video. See, I turn back around for the fourth time. This lady says, I need some marijuana and I got some gummy if y'all need some. So now I'm like, okay, I got to breathe. I took my glasses off. I got to breathe. And I said, uh, we don't have, we we're not smoking. We don't know where you can get some weed, and we don't want none of your weed. Now I don't make a habit of repeating myself, but I have done so now 4 times. So I invite you to turn back around and enjoy your food. And I'm going to continue my conversation with my friend. And I'm talking just like this. I'm smiling though, right? Because it's the 30th anniversary of my high school reunion, and I only got suspended a few times, but the times I got suspended, it was absolutely for pugilistic activity, and it was because I did not have any de-escalation strategies. Now I feel like I have de-escalation strategies. I can tell this woman is inebriated. I can tell she don't mean no harm. I can tell has no idea that I just buried my brother. And I can tell she ain't giving two craps about what me and my friend got going on because she just can't get there right now. Right. So when I say, y'all ready? When I tell her that that's the last time I'm going to say it, she says, bitch, you ain't got to be rude. So, okay, you know what? I do not have to deal with this, right? This is not somebody sending me an email in a way that I don't appreciate or like. That's not what this is. Now we name calling. Now you loud. Now you embarrassing me, and I hate being embarrassed. So I'm gonna stand up and I'm gonna go into the restaurant to tell the staff that they need to handle their belligerent customer. Okay, and then just for context, I don't know if none of y'all know my little friend Lisa. This woman is, I mean, she's not super small, but she ain't got no muscles. She don't look like she ever been in a fight. Like, I don't know what's going on. Her male companion, he just laughing. That's what he's doing. He's laughing. So I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna tell him, but I gotta walk past her table in order to do so. So as I stand up to walk inside to let the staff know what has happened, she stands up. And I want you to imagine a child who is really, really mad, and she's got her fist balled up, and she's got them down by her thighs, and she's got her face on, and she's like, "Bring it on!" The kind of workouts I've been doing, I think if I get into a fight at this point, then somebody will say that I am like Mike Tyson and I should know that I'm going to cause serious harm. And so therefore, if I hit somebody, I'm going to be in big trouble. So I walk right past this lady, go inside. I tell the staff exactly what's happened. I said, I want to see a manager so y'all can handle y'all little belligerent customer. And I'm walking back to my chair. Now, let me tell you, the thing that makes me most upset about this entire exchange is not even her. There's some bystanders sitting at the table on the way into the restaurant. They say nothing to her. They don't say anything to the manager later. They look at me and they mouth silently. Thank you. Thank you. So now they telling me, thank you. Okay. All right. Okay, fine. I sit back down in my chair. Here comes the manager. Now, as soon as the manager, it's not the assistant manager. Remember, everybody in this space is white except for the assistant manager. Here comes the manager. And the manager, he is trying to talk to me. And then at this point, this is when our little Karen friend says, with tears in her eyes, she tried to attack me. It was straight up Amy Cooper, Christian Cooper, Central Park 2020. I just don't have video. She said I tried to attack her. She done interrupted my meal 4 times. She has embarrassed me by calling me out of my name super loud. She has stood there in front of me with her chin. Look, she got her chin up. Y'all know my son does jujitsu. She got her chin up. And all I could see was just clack, clack, just bring it on. Now Miss Bring It On is crying and saying I tried to attack her. And I think it's important that y'all know that the manager did do what I think is necessary in these types of situations. He told them that they had to close out their tab and that they needed to leave. At that point, her male companion did close out the tab, but he was trying to get her to leave, she was refusing. So he leaves her. Manager comes back and says, "Hey, listen, they're being belligerent. She doesn't intend to leave, but if she says one more thing to you, the Gladstone police are ready to be called." Now, here's my issue. Fine, whatever he did, he's de-escalating the situation. Me and my friend Camille, we having a decent time, whatever. Here's the thing: that woman sits there for 20 minutes and does not leave. Now she don't say nothing else to me, but she sits there for 20 minutes and does not leave. And I just wonder, in what situation could I, in my skin, sit at a restaurant 20 minutes after somebody done told me to leave in Gladstone, Missouri, when the police was right around the corner? I mean, I can't, I can't think of a situation in which that would occur. And here's the danger in all of this, right? Because all week I couldn't help but think about if something else went, like, what if one little thing went the wrong? Because when she came towards me, that's an aggressive stance. I could say I was afraid for my life and knock the plum poo out of her. See, but if I had done so and then I'm in the news, then people would say I was wrong. I know how this goes. And this is the stuff that Black people have to think about all the time. And that takes me to this presidential debate and the election that's coming up to us right now, because here's what I just cannot understand. Here's what I cannot understand. Perhaps you have not read the leadership mandate, the Conservative Promise Project 2025. 926 pages of nothing but hatefulness, emboldening people, telling them and giving them the perception that things like fair housing, and listen, you don't have to believe me on this, page 523, specifically about housing and urban development. This part Ben Carson was the author of, and all that it is saying is that the everything in housing and urban development should be equitable, should not be discriminatory, specifically based on race, and should be fair. In this document, they are suggesting that if Donald Trump becomes the president of the United States of America, that they are going to reverse every single measure designed to create equitable outcomes in housing. I just learned that there's a hospital in Kansas City, just north of the river, where for every child, a mother that goes in to have her child in the maternity ward, and for the children who die, the babies who die, 9 out of 10 of those babies happen to be Black. When you look at what is currently happening in our particular school district, and what's happening around zoning and how we're handling taxes and who gets abatement, who doesn't, and how that money is not going to the school district. When you look at all of this, there's not a single institution in the United States of America that does not have disproportionality based on race. Not a single one. And I cannot imagine a world in which I could go to the voting booth. Actually, first, let me back up and not go to the voting booth because of these people like this woman sitting behind me. I have lived my entire life in all kinds of racially diverse spaces, and I cannot imagine a situation. I ain't never been called a bitch in my face. I certainly have not been done so by a white woman. The sentiment here in the United States of America and what has happened has been the result of the 4 years that we gave the most powerful position in the world to a person who is nothing but divisive and destructive with his language. And so we have said to the weeds of our society, you know what? Let me put you in the sunny spot and water you. And because someone happens to be old, because someone happens to have made a decision at some point that I disagree with, because I feel like my politician should be able to align with me on every single measure. Listen, I got siblings, I've had husbands, I've got kids, I got friends. There ain't a person on this planet that I agree with on every single issue. This is especially true around my politician. And if by chance it was not important for you to vote, no one would be trying so hard to disenfranchise voters. I went to undergrad at North Carolina A&T State University in Greensboro, North Carolina. 12,000 Black students by and large. There are a few other people, but for the most part, 12,000 Black students. When I was there, Taryn, TJ, Muhammad, Mitchell, Taryn was responsible for helping us get 100% of the students registered to vote. You know what they have since done on the campus of North Carolina A&T? You know what they have since done? They got a line right through the middle of campus where they are separating those votes. You see, if it did not matter how Black people voted, they would not do that. It's not necessary. I keep saying it. You ain't got to cheat when you know you're going to win. So here's what I'll say about this current situation we're in. Democracy ain't supposed to work this way. I am not supposed to have to choose a candidate because the other one is so bad that I'm trying to stop them. That ain't how it's supposed to work. It's not how it's supposed to work. It's not supposed to be like this. Our founding fathers could not have imagined in a million years that we would take a known rapist, and before you come at me talking about how do I know this, the man got to pay E. Jean Carroll almost $500 million. Don't play with me. The judge said there's just absolutely he does not believe for one moment this man did not rape that woman. And this is the woman who decided to come forward. So don't do that. We cannot imagine. We wanted to kick somebody out for having a tan suit on. We disenfranchised Mr. Howard Dean for screaming too loud. Al Gore was too smart. Hillary Clinton was too prepared. Now we got a rapist with 34 felony convictions who, when he knows he was wrong, don't never admit it. And we're like, yes, this is the most viable candidate for the United States of America. We got Supreme Court justices who said one thing one year and then come back the next year, not with new information, change their mind. Because I'm a scientist. So a scientist with new information will change their minds. No, these are people who have apparently changed their minds, but they did not change their minds. Clarence Thomas said that Chevron should be in place to keep us from having people poisoning us. When you got a country that's focused on greed, people will do all kinds of things, and you need some kind of regulations to keep them from doing. Clarence Thomas 30 years ago was like, yeah. Now that he has gotten millions of dollars from people who are against Chevron, now he's like, Chevron, we don't need that. Project 2025 talks about reversing all things related to environmental sustainability. What climate crisis? What you talking about? First of all, CRT is not in schools, but they're putting all this effort into the the woke left. Now I'm woke if I don't think that teachers should be given, what did they say? If a book, so I'm thinking something like Toni Morrison or Maya Angelou, because it does talk about sex acts in these books. If I have a book like that in a school, they're suggested I be deemed a sexual predator if I'm a librarian or a teacher. I'm putting together something that will make this plain for you. But if by chance you're like, I don't like either one of them, I don't know how you can do this equivalent. One man is old, who stutters, who's always had gaffes for his entire life. Now all of a sudden it's like, he too old. Man, listen, I want you to imagine that the questions that were asked of President Joe Biden yesterday were asked of Donald Trump. Could he answer any of these questions about international affairs? And maybe you don't care about international affairs, but you should. Because I imagine that the people of Ukraine, some of them were not concerned about international affairs. And now look at what they're dealing with, getting bombed every day. You see, sometimes we just we start throwing out these theoreticals like, yeah, he need to step aside. He need to quit. You cannot win a presidential election in 4 months. Name recognition going to be a problem in 4 months. You can't do it. This is unbelievable what people are talking about. And listen, I'm an academic all day long. I like to theorize. Present day realist, eternal optimist. If you think there should be a viable third party, I ain't gonna tell you need to run for president of the United States. I couldn't pass the background check, child. I'd be like, back in 1994, she did X, I'd be screwed. But I will say, if you feel like two choices is not it, do the work when it's not 4 months before the election to make a third choice. Even people who run on these independents and third party, man, listen, you got to put together a viable plan to make that a viable option, because otherwise this lady and this man's lay of the land. Listen, when Barack Obama became president of the United States, we had an exponential growth in hate groups. And the FBI came forward and said that their agency had been infiltrated by white supremacists, not people who have white supremacist ideas, white supremacists, that our police departments are infiltrated by white supremacists. Everything that I had to deal with on Monday, all racial. You can make it whatever you want to make it, but as soon as those tears start falling, all I could think about was all the white papers that I have read about the danger of white tears. I could see Emmett Till in the casket, because those tears are dangerous. What helped me that day, because I did not credential, I refused. I could have been like, me and Camille, we both have our doctorates and blah, blah, blah. I absolutely did not, because you don't need to know any of that in order for me to be able to sit down in a restaurant and get appropriate treatment. I wasn't credentialing. Whoever she was, whatever she had absolutely no right to talk to me, let alone to call me names. And on the drop of a hat, able to turn on those tears. It's almost like they have a class or something that teaches it. What she said, I don't know. But I know she knew she could weaponize those tears in that moment. And when you consider that people with this thinking are infiltrating our schools, infiltrating our banks, infiltrating our religious institutions, here's what I know. I know full dang well that if we don't vote in the coming election, that we're going to be dealing with this forever. I'm curious to know what y'all think I should have done. It's Filter Free Friday, y'all. We got work to do.